Hello everyone and welcome back guys to round 7 of our F1 2020 McLaren Road to Glory career mode, where today we're here back ready for our favourite track probably on the Formula 1 calendar, at least when it comes to getting good results. That's right, we're here for the Monaco Grand Prix. Really excited to be jumping into this weekend. Always a good opportunity to score some big points. Obviously, if you missed out on the last video from this series, I would definitely recommend going back and checking out as well from the Spanish Grand Prix. You know, it was sort of our return to this series. You know, really did enjoy that race as well. But heading into the Monaco Grand Prix this weekend, we probably are going to need to try and get some fresh components on the car. We're only going to do the parts that we really need to, that are particularly worn out. So that's the control electronics, and then also the internal combustion engine, which was also quite worn as well. So we'll get those two sorted on the car. I don't think we might be able to buy a driver perk, actually. Yeah, there we go. We'll go with the power mapping upgrade as well there. So we got a driver perk now. We've only got 70k. We can see Lando Norris 89 rated at the moment here. But anyway, let's dive in then here for qualifying for the Monaco Grand Prix. Here we are then, ready for the Monaco Grand Prix qualifying session, the most important session of qualifying over the course of the year. Obviously, one of the most famous Formula 1 venues as well. Obviously, it's always a spectacle on Saturday. Sunday, often a bit more of a snooze fest. But yeah, really looking forward to jumping in to this weekend. Hopefully, we can get another strong result. Obviously, we try and maintain our P4 in the Drivers' World Championship as best as possible. But it all kicks off here then, ready for our one-shot qualifying session down into Turn 1. Surprised, actually, I managed to get it slowed down in time there. I thought we were going to lock up and go a bit wider through the first corner. You can already see Bottas, I guess that is, in the Mercedes, just making a little bit of gains on us as we head through the end of Sector 1. We probably should be concentrating just a little bit more, trying to get this lap all hooked up nice and tidy in through the hairpin. Taking a bit of curb there, but we kept it clean. That's the most important thing. Avoid the wall. They seem to be able to understeer a whole lot more through there nowadays on F1. But out onto the seafront here through the hotel, you can just see how much extra straight line speed Bottas has got over ourselves here as we head down into the chicane. Just trying to keep it nice and tidy, get nice and straight on the power on the exit. Down a couple of gears into Portier. As you can see, we're purple up in Sector 2 here. It's been quite a good little lap so far here around the Monaco Grand Prix circuit. Just a few more corners to go in through La Rascasse. Just try and keep it nice and tidy. Roll on the power on the exit, and now it's just a drag race up to the line. It's looking good at the moment. It seems like we might be on the front row for the Monaco Grand Prix. A good hooked up lap. Where is it going to be? Second place on the grid. I will take that very happily. In the end there, very surprised we got that lap hooked up right when it mattered there. A 1:10.6.
Of our top three, Bottas, Mr. Monaco, and Lewis Hamilton. Well, that wraps up qualifying, but don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow as we head into the Grand Prix.
Holy moly, what a lap that was in the end. 8 tenths quicker than our teammate Lando Norris when all is said and done, and able to split the Mercedes to start on the front row for the first time this season. Hamilton third, Charles Leclerc, his home race, starting from P4 ahead of Vettel and Albon there. Ricciardo having a good job done to split the Red Bulls, but our teammate Lando struggled behind the two Racing Point cars. But that has been the dream start to the weekend here. Let's see now if it can carry on in the Monaco Grand Prix.
Formula 1 returns to Monte Carlo once again today, home to the world-famous Monte Carlo Casino, first opened in 1863. And, of course, a certain road race, first held here in 1929. There's no greater an occasion, no more valuable a win than the Monaco Grand Prix. The prestigious Circuit de Monaco then. It's not all that dissimilar today to the layout that made its debut almost a century ago. It's 2 miles and 19 corners through the streets of Monte Carlo, and although the average lap speed of around 93 miles per hour is the lowest of the season, the tiny margins for error make it the natural habitat of the safety car. And as always, a man with plenty of racing experience joins me in the commentary box. Today it's Anthony Davidson. Tell me, Ant, you're no stranger to surviving the melee of turn 1. So how do you keep out of trouble when there's so much going on around you?
Well, the throttle goes both ways, Crofty. You've got to have the discipline not to try and win the race on the first lap. So always be prepared to lift early and give those around you more space. Trying to be the last of the late breakers with half a dozen cars around you may pay off from time to time, but it's also a great way to lose your front wing.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, and Mr. Monaco completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Leclerc, Sebastian Vettel, and Albon, Ricciardo, Verstappen, Perez, and Lance Stroll, Norris, Grosjean, Esteban Ocon, and Giovinazzi, Gasly, Raikkonen, Kevin Magnussen, and Daniel Kvyat. Latifi and George Russell ends our grid lineup. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
After the points finish last race, let's aim to keep the momentum going.
So here we are then on the grid, ready for the Monaco Grand Prix. They don't call us Mr. Monaco for nothing on F1 2020. Our best qualifying position so far of the year, and a brilliant opportunity to score some big points for our McLaren team. You know, this place always brings up a few surprises, so yeah, hopefully we can be that surprise here today with a good race result. It's going to be quite a defensive one though. We saw from one-shot quali just how much quicker the Mercs were down the straight, so if we can hold off Hamilton in towards turn 1, hopefully then we can be within a good shout. I can't see us making too many overtakes around this circuit here today. But let's just dive into it then. Round 7 of the season from the historic Monaco Grand Prix. We need a nice clean start. It's 5 red lights. And it's lights out, and away we go. Off to that clean start that we needed. Bottas, much quicker down in towards turn 1. But we do get a good run off the exit of the corner here as we head up the hill for the first time. Though we've held on to track position, which, yeah, like I said, was going to be the absolute most crucial thing here on the getaway, because I, just don't think we're going to be able to make up all too many places with our lack of straight line speed. You know, we've completely focused this car on what you'd expect at Monaco, just trying to get around the circuit with as much downforce as you dare, but sometimes the AI do like to run a little bit less aero, and with a car advantage like Mercedes have got over us at the moment, you can't blame them for taking a bit of a gamble with it. Yellow flags, I think, out through the hairpin there on lap 1. It's just everyone concertinas up. That's way too deep on the brakes into the chicane for the first time, but we just about collected all up fairly nicely in the end, through to Baxter, I should say, on this opening lap. It's crucial you settle down into rhythm nice and early on in this race. Jeff saying not the best start in the world, not really too sure what he's on about. Personally, I think we did pretty much as well as we could off there. Trying to get around Bottas, I think, was always going to be a bit optimistic with the short run in towards turn 1. Bottas, though, like we said, leads the way from pole position at the end of the first lap. Hamilton, though, the gap pretty much even to the car in front and the car behind. Things you love to see. Coming to the end of lap 2, though, just dropping back a little bit from Valtteri Bottas, as we just need to try and now monitor the ERS usage as well. That'll be critical in this race if we want to hold on ahead of the cars around us. I'll be honest, I wasn't actually expecting to be that quick this weekend. I was hoping we'd be around the Red Bulls, as is always the aim in the early stages of this career mode. But yeah, lacked a bit of confidence after free practice, so I was quite surprised actually we got the lap hooked up as well as we did in qualifying. But we can't afford to be worried. You know, you've got to be 100% committed around this circuit, so let's just keep our head down and focus on not making any mistakes. You can see now, just after the first few laps, Bottas is really in a good rhythm and pulling away just a little bit of time over us. Just a couple of tenths lap after lap really do start adding up around this circuit. We've got Hamilton and Vettel still trying to apply the pressure, as Charles Leclerc, his Monaco curse, seems to once again be back this season round there. He's actually just ahead of Daniel Ricciardo, obviously, who won this Grand Prix a few years ago there in both the Red Bulls. I'm not too sure where Lando is at this stage of the day, but we're not really too worried about what he's doing, I'll be honest. So Team won us in then at the end of lap 6, I'll be honest. I think the call's a little bit too early in this race. I'm much more inclined to try and stay out a couple of laps longer here and try to avoid getting held up in too much traffic. I don't know if anyone's starting on mediums and going for the alternate strat, but it's not really worth the risk at this stage. If there's any chance we can get around Bottas as well, surely we've got to take it. So there we go. Bottas does opt to stay out. So does Hamilton behind us. But Vettel is therefore the first man into the pit. So it's going to be interesting to see where he comes out once again in this race. If he gets some clear traffic, he might be good, as we nick the wall there through turn 1. Luckily getting away with no damage. But yeah, interesting then. Where is Sebastian Vettel going to be out in this Grand Prix relative to the cars around us? I think he's only just going to get caught up with the Alfa Romeos there. So that's not been good for him, but I think Bottas definitely, we might just be far enough ahead to stay out ahead of them. There we go. End of lap 7. Bottas stays out once again. Hamilton this time, the man into the pits. So yeah, again, it's going to be interesting to see where the Mercedes driver comes out. Neither Bottas or I want to be the first one to blink at this stage of the day, but we're almost out of Rich Revs and DRS already here. Lando into the pits. It might be worth just holding out for a couple of extra laps, so everyone around us who started on the softs also pits here. But where is Hamilton going to be? He's actually been jumped, I think, by Charles Leclerc in all of that. But he comes out behind Seb, more importantly. So now we've got no excuse not to stay out for a few more laps, because we're going to get jumped either way. End of lap 8. Bottas then into the pits. So we're now going to claim the lead of the Monaco Grand Prix here, albeit only for a brief period. But we will have to dive in at the end of this lap. The tyres finally starting to go off just a little bit more here. Everyone else into the pits. So it seems like the Alfa Romeos, the Hasses and the Williams have done a good job holding up a lot of the cars towards the rear of the field. But yeah, Bottas has come out in P3 just behind Esteban Ocon. And you can see he's got 7 seconds to Sebastian Vettel now behind him. So we do need to take this opportunity now and dive in. End of lap 9. Obviously, like we said, we are going to be pitting in the end of this one. Dinking the wall just again there. I don't think... Oh, we did nick the front wing that time round, which is not what we needed. Make sure we get it slowed down nice and tidily. But yeah, hopefully we get a nice clean stop. We still should be out in P2 here. Bottas has got a 7-second lead over Sebastian Vettel. Why are they changing the wing? Why did I forget to change that? Come on. We better stay out in P2 still. I'm going to be gutted if we don't. Green light. There we go. We can head out of the pit lane once again. But Bottas is going to be way ahead of us. Ocon, though, is still out there. He's actually on the mediums, so he's trying to go a little bit longer in this race. Seb's going to get past us. Is Leclerc going to be able to do the same here on the rejoin? It is going to be very, very close between ourselves and Charles Leclerc, but we do hold out just in front. No, we don't. It's going to be a drag race out of the first corner there between myself and Charles Leclerc. We've got fresher rubber, albeit cold. Can we hook it up around the outside into Casino Square? Yes, we can. And we do just hold on to P3 then of the Monaco Grand Prix, but even closer than I initially thought it would be between myself and Charles Leclerc here. 3 seconds now the gap to Vettel just in front, but we have still got a good clean front wing then, despite not really wanting it, I'll be honest. So now we can push. Esteban Ocon is still staying out at this stage of the race. I'm pretty certain we are the quickest car on the circuit at the moment. We're taking a lot of time out of Seb as well. Obviously, his Bottas is just stuck behind the Renault. If he stays out sort of another 2-3 laps, I can't imagine he will, I'll be honest. But if he does, for some odd reason, that would really, really come in handy for both myself and Sebastian Vettel at the moment. Because, yeah, Bottas lost about 2 seconds on that last lap to the pair of us. You can see now Bottas and Ocon just a couple of seconds up the road from myself and Seb at this stage of the day, as we just graze the Armcos through to back in the final sector of the lap. Are we finally going to see Ocon pit the end of lap 13? No, Ocon staying out another lap here, which is so helpful for myself and Sebastian Vettel, because Bottas is just losing so much time sat behind the Renault car here. We're a bit deep on the brakes into one. That's giving us a little bit more front wing damage, which is not what we needed. That might just have cost us massively in this race here as we head through the top of the hill once again. Yeah, now just struggling a bit more with the front end rotation, but I'm sure we're still going to be gaining on that Mercedes. End of lap 14. Seb is now all over the back of Bottas as Ocon finally makes the call into the pits here. So that's really, really not helped out Valtteri Bottas in this race. It's given Sebastian Vettel and myself a bit of a lifeline at this stage of the day as we take a bit of curb through the first corner there. The team actually now wanted me to actually dive back in just due to the nature of the front wing damage. It's definitely not worth it at this stage of the race. We may as well, even if we can't apply the pressure, just stay out here and try to bring home the podium. But can't help but feel, yeah, that the first change, obviously the first front wing change, that we didn't want, but ended up getting, really has cost us a potential win here, because we wouldn't have been behind Seb, and we would have been a lot closer to Bottas a lot earlier on, and I'm not afraid to send it around this track. 4 laps to go then of the Monaco Grand Prix, and you can already see, once Ocon got out of the way, Bottas has just sort of checked out again in this race. We are just sort of in now turning into limp home mode. The gap to Charles Leclerc behind us is quite safe at the moment, as well as Ricciardo still doing a fantastic job up in P5 here. But yeah, really felt like this has been a bit of a race that's got away from us in the second half of the day. We took a bit of a strategy gamble. It did actually pay off on paper. Unfortunately, the team didn't quite have the same ideas. Unfortunately, yeah, the wrong message got down to the pit team. But anyway, let's just try and get this thing to the flag. Coming through La Rascasse then for the penultimate time of this Monaco Grand Prix. We've really just sort of gone in to get the car to the flag mode. Bottas had built up another 8-second lead over myself and 4 seconds over Sebastian Vettel at this stage of the day. But Charles Leclerc, he has taken a bit of time out of us, but not too much that we need to worry about in the latter stages of this race. It has just been sort of enjoying the car as we almost, yeah, a little bit wider there than we probably should have been on this final lap. But you've always got to enjoy it around the Monaco Grand Prix. Like I always say, it is our best chance of scoring big points and getting a bit of an upset result over the course of a season as well here, just with the nature of how weird and wonderful this track truly is. But always such an iconic circuit to head to as well. I really do enjoy racing around this place. When you get into the groove, there is no track better than the Monaco Grand Prix. But anyway, through the tunnel for the final time then here of Monaco. Just see if we can get it nice and tidy through the chicane. Bottas once again is going to make it another win in what is already looking like quite a dominant season from the Finn there. Sebastian Vettel, a good return towards the top of the field here in the Monaco Grand Prix as well with P2. Charles Leclerc, though, his curse of the Monaco Grand Prix, not quite as bad as it has been in previous years, but still, P4 just missing out on the podium. But for us, it's the second podium of the season. I will take that very happily indeed.
Great drive, great drive. We're really happy with that performance.
Yet another historic win under their belts. Well done to the team at Mercedes. So Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again. And now let's take a look at the driver's standings. More points for Valtteri Bottas, further solidifying his lead at the top of the table. So, Anthony Davidson, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
I have to say Sebastian Vettel certainly caught my eye during today's race. Incredible driving.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Our championship leaders retain their position, but their lead is shrinking. I'm equal parts exhausted and elated with this weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for the next one.
So there we are then, the end of the Monaco Grand Prix, and Bottas pole fastest lap race win, 26 points on the board once again, as you'd come to expect from him. I don't know why he's so OP on F1 2020, it's just the way the game seems to work at the end of the day there. But Seb, a fantastic job, P2 from 5th on the grid. Really did play the strategy to absolute perfection there when all is said and done. Myself in 3rd from 2nd on the grid. Got a little bit unlucky in a couple of places, but really we should have just kept it a little bit cleaner and we would have been good for P2 there. Charles Leclerc 4th from 4th on the grid. A fairly quiet day out for him, just lacked a bit of pace that we saw from the guys around him there. Ricciardo, a fantastic job in P5. He really is just an absolute legend around this circuit there. Hamilton, Albon, Verstappen, Perez, and our teammate Lando Norris rounding out the top 10 there. So happy Lando could sneak a point onto the board. Just ahead of Lance Stroll, all the French drivers, Raikkonen, Kvyat, George Russell up in 17th there, finishing ahead of K-Mag, Latifi, and then Giovinazzi rounding out the finishers there. Championship-wise, though, still in P4 at the moment. We're still looking quite good. Bottas, though, now does have a 27-point margin at the top of the field there, ahead of Charles Leclerc and Vettel there. We've got 16 points now over Verstappen as Hamilton gets back past our teammate Lando Norris as the battle of the second best British driver. I'm sure he'll probably get past us by the end of the year there. Albon down in 8th place ahead of Ricciardo and Perez rounding out the top 10 there, and still just Kvyat, Gio and the Williams yet to score points at this stage of the season there. Constructors-wise, though, Ferrari still on top with just 27 points over Mercedes. We've got 20 points over Red Bull still as well there, and then a 70-point drop-off to Renault. We've got twice the point score of a Racing Point on 19. Alfa on 4, Haas on 2, AlphaTauri on 1 there, and obviously Williams still yet to leave the starting blocks. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, do make sure you get yourself subscribed. Yeah, we will be back very, very soon, ready for the next race of the season where we head to another street circuit at Baku. A big thank you to our channel members for making these videos possible. You can be featured in these end clips as well as granted access to some other exclusive perks for just £1 a month by clicking the join button below.